Catus Maximus here, this time with another quick snap-on tool review. This is a part of the... I only paid $5 for this, which I thought was a decent price for a half-inch snap-on speed wrench. This is a K4C. You can see it has kind of an odd snap-on logo. It's the serif font, but it's, you know, not exactly the same as it is on other tools, and so that always has made me curious, but it still, of course, has a date stamp. I think this one's from the 60s here. For those aficionados, there you go. This I call a super speed wrench. I think they are officially called a collared speed wrench, but I picked this up because of specifically this option here, this additional collar that they have around the offset piece where you around the hand crank, and that's a big deal. Snap-on did a pretty good job. All I had to do is add a couple drops of oil, and it actually spins pretty nicely, and so that's really what you notice about this. I was just watching a transmission rebuilding channel called Gary Ferraro, and he uses the speed wrench in just about every video. It's a very dry channel about rebuilding transmissions, but probably one of the best on YouTube as far as detail, if you can deal with the low resolution video. Besides that, I think speed wrenches are pretty valid. They are certainly valid when you use them with these swivel head sockets, because then they are just real easy to, when you're using fasteners, they only need to remove a couple of. You don't have access to the impact, or it's just a little bit more inconvenient. That's the deal with speed wrenches. They're convenient. You can just throw a socket on, pop it on there, and just get it out. And it only takes a few seconds. It's kind of like old hand drills where you can put together a hand drill and drill a couple holes faster than you can chuck a drill bit up in a power drill. Where they start to slow you down is you have to work with a bunch of fasteners. So I've talked about a few speed wrenches. We have the Hazit, this German Hazit, the 911, and we can see that the Hazit still does have quite an extreme offset even compared to the Snap-on. If I can get them to line up here, you can see how much more handle extension. So the Hazit is still pretty high torque, but surprisingly enough, the Snap-on is one of the stubbiest ones I've seen. It's about an inch shorter than the Hazit. And then what I have here is I've got a Proto and an SK, which I consider more quote-unquote standard length, or maybe long length. If we compare to the SK from the tip of the handle, the Snap-on's about 4 inches shorter. Same deal with the Proto, so I do kind of like that. I also do like that they have a nice bend here where it arcs upwards, like they do on the SK and the Proto. That's probably my biggest criticism with this Hazit, is it works pretty well, but this is squared off a bit much, and so if your hand's at a high angle, you'll be hitting this part of the bar. And so that's why they have this bent at a different angle than this, is so that when you're cranking it, even if your hand's in an awkward position, you're less likely to run into and hit the wrench. And I can understand, at least with this Snap-on tool, why it would be more expensive than some of its competition, and that would have to be with this collar. How'd they get this collar on this part of the bar? Well, that'd be obvious. They'd probably forge this end, slide the collar on, and then do the bends, or do these two bends, slide the collar on, and then do these last two bends afterwards. And so that's quite a bit of extra effort to put something in, go through a partial bending process, do some assembly work, and then another bending process. It does add to the expense. And so I don't know what these run for new. I don't think I've ever bought a new Snap-on tool. I hardly own any Snap-on tools, but now that I ran into a few, figured it was about time that I picked up a few of them. Actually, I couldn't pass it up. It was $5 for a Snap-on half-inch drive collared speed wrench. You would have to be a fool to not have purchased that. Or I would have had to have been a fool not to have purchased it. Anyway, I like it. This is something that Snap-on is more known for, and this is something that I would appreciate the company for, or do. It's the fact that they take something like the speed wrench and at least try to improve it some way, and putting on a collar that actually runs really smooth when it's oiled is a big deal. This is a very convenient, fast, and smooth operating speed wrench, and actually I'm pretty happy to add it to my collection. So just wanted to share this with you, compare it to a few other speed wrenches, and of course spend a little more time touting the usefulness of a speed wrench, because they still are quite valid. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.